Good night. Welcome to Teleislas News with the most relevant and important information of the day. In his visit to the department, the Attorney General of the nation gave an assessment of the work that has been developed by the entity in the island territory.
An assessment in which we can show several important results. Of course, we have also collected the concerns that exist on some issues, and we will act from the main office to accompany the sectional director in sexual crimes. The focused action of the Attorney General's office allowed us to achieve a clarification of 62% of those crimes that affect children and adolescents. This is the greatest number of clarifications that the island of San Andres has had in all its history in the Attorney General's office of the nation. This means that the action of the prosecutor's office also allowed us to achieve a reduction of 50% of the crime through the special prevention. If we compare the previous year's period with this period, we went from 48 cases to 24 cases. That is to say, sexual crimes in San Andres have been reduced, and therefore we have achieved a higher rate of solving these crimes on the island.
In the same line, the prosecutors gave the figures on the clarification of crime on the island.
Today we already have 90% of clarification in domestic violence, which means that out of 137 complaints that we have received this year, we have already responded and solved 124. We have achieved a 62.50% clarification and a 40% reduction in homicides on the island of San Andres. That is to say that at this time last year, we had 27 victims. Today, we have 16 victims. That is to say, 9 victims less.
In the last year, the Attorney General's office has linked 9 people, 6 government officials, 2 contractors, and an auditor in ongoing investigation of different acts of corruption.
During his visit to San Andres, the Attorney General of the nation referred to the indictment of the governor of the department.
Taking into account that next September 23rd will be the hearing of the indictment of the Commander-in-Chief of the Archipelago Department, the Attorney General of the nation, Francisco Barbosa, stated that the prosecutor office is not persecuting him, but that they seek to work for justice.
El 23 de septiembre.
On September 23rd, the aforementioned governor will be charged for several inconsistencies detected in the celebration of 16 contracts for the provision of professional services for tourism issues during April and May of 2020, while the mandatory preventive isolation was enforced in the country. It is a decision that, of course, the prosecutor's office will support before the respective court. And we, as the prosecutor's office, what we do as always is respect the decisions of the administration of justice. You will understand that what the prosecutor's office does is to investigate, and obviously we present before our judges, before our magistrates, the different explanations regarding the investigations. Nobody persecutes anybody in Colombia, politically speaking. Here what we do is work for justice.
The visit of the Attorney General to the islands is part of the visit to the departments that the entity is making in search of clarifying several events that have occurred in the last year in the country.
Governor Everett Hawkins Shogreen requests protective measures before the Inter-American Commission in Human Rights. It should be noted that the governor of the island is in the city of Washington in order to file requests for international protection.
After the latest statements made by the Attorney General of the nation requesting the indictment of Governor Everett Hawkins Shogreen, the island leader, together with his lawyer Julio Cesar Ortiz from the city of Washington, request a protective measure before the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights of the OAS, with the purpose of preventing the Attorney General's office from continuing to handle the investigative cases.
Estamos aquí en Washington.
Today we are in Washington in front of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights of the OAS, formally presenting urgent protective measures to prevent the Prosecutor General's office from continuing its conduct of persecution against the governor of the islands.
In the statements given by the governor's attorney, it is emphasized that the governor of the department is respectful of the decisions of the control entities. However, he states that it is unacceptable to request a security measure in matters that were for the benefit of the community, clarifying that the alleged irregularities allegedly occurred in the subscription of 16 contracts for the provision of services for a value of 240,551,122 pesos. Being the beneficiaries natural persons who would be responsible for supporting the management of the Tourism Secretariat with tourism inspection activities, taking into account the visitors who stayed in the department.
Creemos que el gobernador merece.
We believe that the governor deserves the respect of the protection of his rights. He cannot be the object of the persistent persecution that has been observed in the office of the Attorney General of the nation. We trust that the Inter-American Commission will take charges in the matter and warn that the intended measures of preventive detention are not applied in an open manner as they have wanted to do.
The Attorney General's Office of the Nation held a press conference today where it provided details on different cases submitted in the archipelago.
3 months after the discovery of the lifeless body of the minor Naked Livingston inside a cistern in the municipality of Old Providence, a tragedy that shocked the archipelago and the country, the Attorney General Office provided details on the progress of the investigations as well as the result of the first examinations conducted on the corpse.
The Attorney General's office moved with a specialized team to the municipality of Old Providence, conducted the due inspection of the place of the facts, technical inspection of the body, and the result of the necropsy report and the forensic biology report requested preclusion before the judge of knowledge. We are waiting for a date and time to be indicated. We have the necropsy report in which, as a result, no sign of violence was found in the minor. In addition to this, the forensic biology report did not find a genetic profile of third parties in the child's body.
On the other hand, Attorney General Francisco Barbosa confirmed that actions are being taken to capture the leaders of the gangs that transport illegal migrants through the water of the archipelago, as well as other departments of the country.
We are already working with the organized crime delegate from Bogota, where we are establishing the patterns and the characterization of these organizations in order to attack the heads that are behind the different facts behind the smuggling of migrants into the national territory. It is not only an issue of San Andres and Providence, but from different areas of the national territory.
The Attorney General Office stated that will be continued to conduct the relevant investigations on the different cases of murders that have occurred in the archipelago of San Andres.
Tropical storm Fiona advances through the Caribbean. Authorities indicate that this phenomenon will not have an impact in the archipelago.
Tropical Storm Fiona, the sixth named system of the 2022 hurricane season, continues its passage through the Caribbean islands, which are already beginning to receive heavy rains. The Port Captaincy specifies that this storm will have no impact on the archipelago.
The Research and Oceanographic Center of the Caribbean is monitoring and watching the storm Fiona, which by its trajectory so far has no effect on the archipelago. However, the system of the National Unit of Risk Management made the first statement and is in a state of surveillance. During the course of the next 48 hours, we'll continue monitoring and will be taking the respective statements.
The Port Captain's office has stated that the current weather conditions present on the island are not related to Tropical Storm Fiona.
In other news, the Secretary of Health celebrates the Andean Week with the objective of preventing gender violence and early pregnancies, where activities focused on this population will be carried out so that they can learn about the subject in depth.
The Health Secretariat will be celebrating the Andean Week between September 19th and 23rd, which is aimed at preventing gender-based violence and pregnancy in childhood and adolescence. This year, the defined slogan is "We speak up, we say no to violence and pregnancy in childhood and adolescence."
A partir del 19 al 20.
From September 19 through September 23 of this year, we are commemorating the Andean Week of Prevention of Pregnancy in Childhood and Adolescence. The Andean Week is a national strategy that from the public agenda of the territories, it seeks to carry out coordinated actions to reduce and impact pregnancies in childhood and adolescence.
Psychologist Juliana Jesse refers to the importance of these activities.
Su importancia.
Its importance is to raise awareness in the community about gender-based violence with emphasis on sexual violence and pregnancies in childhood and adolescence. For this year, we will carry out a series of activities aimed at children and adolescents, and we have some very specific actions that we will develop within educational institutions and in communities.
The government invites children and adolescents to actively participate in the activities programmed in the educational institutions and in the community through the Collective Interventions Plan (PIC) of the Health Secretariat in coordination with the SSE Departmental Hospital, the Government Secretariat and Social Development Secretariat.
And now it's time for news of the municipality of Old Providence and Santa Catalina with Millicent O'Neill.
Good evening to all our viewers. This is the most relevant information from Old Providence and Catalina. Yesterday, the socialization of the progress of the reconstruction of the municipal hospital was held. The meeting was attended by members of the Health Secretariat, the Municipal Administration, Argos Foundation, community members, and the construction company.
Yesterday, the Secretariat of Health carried out the information dissemination meeting on the reconstruction of the municipal hospital.
The technical part, the group of experts who are building the hospital gave explanations. They showed the materials to the community. They were able to feed them as well as the windows. They showed the material for the external covering of the hospital, and the concern of the community is focused more on the safety that these places can provide.
Some participants expressed doubts concerning the structure.
And to me, that don't have the standard for that. I don't like it. It's not, to me, it's not sure. And I think it should have a supervisor to see that they're using the material that they're supposed to use.
The project is endorsed by the Infrastructure Department of the Ministry of Health. This was stated by the authorities present.
The structure of this hospital is completely revised and supervised by engineers who are experts in this area. It has the capacity to withstand winds of 200 kilometers, and these materials have been used in other parts of the world, such as Florida, where many hurricanes occur.
Authorities made it clear that the reconstruction of the municipal hospital and the construction of the second-level hospital are two different projects.
This hospital comes from different donations such as Cementos Argos, Huawei de Colombia, Comeva, the policy that the hospital used to have, the government of San Andres, and the Ministry of Health.
Finally, some community participants requested for information on the socialized materials for further research.
In other news, reconstruction workers were left waiting after agreeing to meet with the engineers and owners of the Constructerra company to seek a solution to the payment of their contract settlement.
Close to 50 reconstruction workers and some local authorities were left waiting for a meeting to be held at the Dignity Camp with engineers and owners of the company Constructerra. This in search of a solution to problems with payments of contract settlements.
Today we had a meeting with them which they did not comply with, and they wanted to make it virtual while the parties were on the island. If both parties are here, we have to be here and confront the situation here. The workers are here, only those affected by the issue, but they did not come. Neither the engineer nor the owner of the company came, and they are here on the island. The comrades who were working as such joined the cause because they are realizing that the company as such is violating our rights, and therefore we are all joining the cause so that we can be liquidated here and leave for our homes with our money in our pockets.
Likewise, workers denounce abuses by the company in health and various areas.
I caught COVID, and the company at no time gave me medicines. They did not look after me, nor did they isolate me, and I had to buy the medication myself. These are the mattresses they give us to sleep on, and a fan, and these are the ones given to us by the people who have helped us, because there are people who suffer from spinal problems. They gave us a fan for 3 people, and it is not fair because it is 1 per person, and we also have the bed that we have assembled. We went to the dump to look for tablets to assemble them.
Finally, a new face-to-face meeting was scheduled for Monday in order to address these issues before taking other measures.
And drivers in the municipality and the community in general are calling on the competent authorities to review the conditions of the Old Providence Ring Road. Yesterday, a new hole was formed on the surface of the road in the Freestone sector. The dimensions of these cracks endanger the lives of drivers due to possible accidents, and they affect their finances due to damages to their vehicles. This latest pothole in the road joins others around the island that could become possible traps for drivers. This is all we have for tonight for this section of Old Providence and Catalina. Continue in San Andres with more Teleislas News. Good night.
Thank you, Millie. And with news of the municipality, we reach to the end of this broadcast, but we see you Sunday at 8 p.m. with Teleislas News Weekend. Good night.